Hello and welcome everyone to another thrilling episode of the Mythic Initiative. I am Chris, your resident keeper for these preceding evenings, but with that, let us introduce our lovely cast, starting off with C.
I was finally ready this time. It only took 9 episodes. Hi, everyone. My name is Cia. I use they, them pronouns. You can find me making very trans, very gay art on the internet at PieSharpArt. Tonight, I'm playing Eden, who uses they, he pronouns and is, in fact, the Hex. They're like growing, though. I'm very proud of them. But for why? Anyway, I'll pass it over to Vin is not here, so I'll pass it over to CJ.
I was wondering if you were going to have trouble with that one. Hi everyone. Hello.
How dare you doubt
What's
me?
Up? It was not doubt. It was more like constructive haterism. Hi everyone. I'm CJ, your favorite homophobic bestie. I'm playing fucking Vic, who's not homophobic actually. So isn't that the beauty of like playing role-playing games? You get to be something that you're not. I'm gonna pass my thing over to Hamna.
That took you a while. Hello, everybody. My name is Hamna. I use any and all pronouns, and today I will be playing Misfit, who uses he, they pronouns, and Misfit is the summoned. I don't think Misfit is homophobic, but he might make you homophobic. And with that...
Not yet.
Not yet? Okay.
You can always keep trying.
I will. That is my goal. My goal is that you watch them, and then you become homophobic. And I'm going to pass things over to Chris.
Thank you. As you can see, I have a very lovely cast. And with that, some content warnings before we get into this episode. This episode in particular contains fantasy violence, apocalypse, gore, blood, familial struggles, severe weather, drug abuse, romance, references to sexual entanglements, depictions of war, references to experimentation, monsters and monstrosities, and trauma. In case any of these don't float your boat, there's a bunch of wonderful content out there on the internet, and enjoy it. With that, Mythics, are we ready to go into this latest episode? Fantastic. With that, a month has passed since the events of Tyr and the apocalypse has been stopped. With it, the city has entered a peace of some sort, or at least a calm. Whether it be a calm of things are over, or a calm of a bigger storm coming, remains to be seen. But for the most part, the Mythics have enjoyed some time alone, some more than others. As we see the camera zoom into the observatory, where our Mythics have been holed up. It's nighttime. Another day has passed, and we zoom into the quarters where we find Misfit and Eden. For Misfit and Eden, what does the audience see in this particular instance of you two?
You see, I think, that same observatory room that Misfit had taken to be their own room in this space. And you see sort of a makeshift bed that has been created for their stay here. And you see Misfit, I think, sitting up in the bed, blankets sort of wrapped around, covering the bottom half of their body, and their hair is a complete mess. He clearly has not really been like getting out of bed lately very often. Just kind of like you imagine that this sitting up position is the most that he has done for a hot minute now, and his face is absolutely exhausted. There are these heavy eye bags, ones that perhaps rival even Eden's own normally that they have on their own face. And you can tell that Misfit has just been crying. There's like dried tears, I think, still stuck to his face as he is sitting there with Eden.
And Eden, in stark contrast to how they normally look, is kind of dressed down. They're wearing like a loose pair of comfortable trousers and just like a normal t-shirt instead of the classic like priest core thing that they had going on for a while there. And you can see like underneath these now completely golden tattoos of like wings, eyes, and angelic script all over their body that had been turned from Eden's own frantic scrawled tattooed script on their own body to almost like rivers of molten gold running through their skin. As I think they are also in the bed, comfortable, their hair down, with their head resting in Misfit's lap, I think. As they have a book in hand and like a pile of books, I think, near the corner of the bed on the floor. Old tomes that they're just kind of leafing through. And though they're not saying anything necessarily in this moment, it's the tiny like reassurance of touching, making sure that Misfit knows that he's there, that they're always there.
And throughout this, I think Misfit is running one hand kind of along, I think, Eden's arm as Eden is reading down there, just tracing these golden tattoos along them. And this time, instead of feeling this painful burning sensation that he normally feels when he touches Eden, what does Misfit feel?
Sunlight, darling. It's like sunlight. It's still, burn is not the right word, but it's the kind of radiance that you feel when you step into the sun. And I think it resonates like in a deep, deep part of your sternum. That's where you feel the warmth travel to every time. And I think as you're running your fingers like up and along Eden's arm, I don't think they look up from the book, but they turn the page and they go, "What are you thinking about?"
And still tracing, I think maybe like one particular wing along Eden's arm. This warm feeling, it reminds me of home, weirdly enough.
Me too. And I think it's in that moment that they kind of put like their fingers through the pages of the book and like close it around their hand and look up at you like from the corner of their eye. And they study your face carefully. Do you want to go?
I don't know anymore. I do. It's home. But I don't know if there's anything down there for me anymore. With Tyr gone. I don't know if I know what's down there.
Maybe you can find out. Just because you don't know what's down there doesn't mean that you can never go.
I don't want to leave you.
I think we both know that I can find my way into hell just fine by myself.
You would come with me.
Of course I would. I want to see the look on your dad's face.
What did you two talk about, by the way?
And Eden's face kind of like closes up a little bit. And they worry the inside of their cheek. I asked about you. I asked about Azriel. I asked about a few things.
Did you learn anything about your parent? I'm not really sure what to call them.
Ancestor, I think, is the best, most accurate word. Not exactly. Your father wasn't exactly forthcoming, but I did get something. Materials, components.
That's fine.
I'm happy that I have them.
I'm glad too. And I'm glad you're here with me. This isn't a feeling I'm used to.
I know.
Fire normally is comforting, is something I can control, but this feels like a fire burning inside of me, like it's eating me from the inside out, and I didn't even know that it could.
Eden nods slowly, and I think there is a kind of recognition in their expression that you know comes with experience of grief. The kind of bone deep sadness that I think resonates along the shared heart between them. And Eden lifts up their hand and kind of gently like wipes some of the like dried tear off of Misfit's cheek. And there's this like soft expression that comes over their face. I know. The ash will settle eventually. And something else will grow out of it. I hope.
And Misfit, I think before Eden can take his hand away from their face, will kind of hold it, kind of pressing it there a little bit longer. I hope so too.
We can go when you're ready. But no sooner, no later. Just tell me when.
Yeah. Not right now.
And in this heartfelt moment, you hear a knock at your door. You hear Naomi kind of, Misfoot and Eden, can I come in? Are you decent? I don't want to get in the way. I know that is space and I'm working on it, but can I come in?
Eden immediately shifts like up and kind of off of Misfit, not letting go of their hand yet. But it's kind of like immediately a protective stance, just blocking Misfit's body like from the door. Little tiny wet rat, you know what I mean? And they, before they even turn and answer Naomi, they kind of glance over their shoulder and look at Misfit, and their face asks the question because they don't have to.
And I think you get kind of this first Misfit kind of like, I think it takes a deep sigh, like he really does not want to deal with Naomi right now. But I think he just kind of, yeah, okay.
And Eden leans over, gives Misfit a kiss on the cheek before pulling themselves up out of bed, grabbing like a dark shawl that was over like an armchair, kind of wrapping it around their body, and going to the door and, without saying anything to Naomi, just ripping the door open and kind of looming in it.
Oh! You see that as you open the door, you see in their hand they have 2 black coffees steaming hot. Eden! Hi. I was wondering if I could have a moment alone with Misfoot, if it would be so kind. I know that you are inseparable these days, but I wish to speak with him alone if you would give me that kind courtesy.
Eden looks over their shoulder.
And Misfit just kind of nods.
Don't fuck this up, they say to Naomi, before kind of opening the door the rest of the way, letting Naomi pass through it and walking out and closing it shut behind them with just like one more glance at Misfit before they disappear into the dark hallway.
You let Naomi pass and they go in, and you notice this and not Misfit as you see that hiding behind one of the corners, you see Xanabar is hiding almost like they're waiting. They point their finger to their mouth to kind of give you that signal of don't tell them I'm here. He's very casual. It's not like Naomi doesn't know he's here. So there's something going on here, but for the moment he does ask to not say anything.
Is he in the room?
He is in the hallway, almost like in the sense of he's waiting to be called in or let in.
Understood. In that case, Eden would not immediately raise the alarm of any kind, would still shut the door, but then would like walk over to Xanabar.
Eden,
What are you doing here?
to give my brother some comfort, I guess.
And Eden like looks him up like once up and down before kind of like shrugging and offering like space, but they kind of go just to the other side of the hallway and lean against the door with their arms crossed, or the wall, excuse me, not the door.
And a very awkward tension and silence between the two of you as he knows what you're doing with his brother, which is awkward for him enough. But with that, as that tension's in the room, we go into the room with Misfoot. As you see Naomi go, Misfoot, I got you black coffee. If I'm not mistaken, this is your favorite. Though I find it very weird that it has nothing in it. But nevertheless, here.
Thanks, Naomi. And Misfit will take the cup and like kind of like run a hand through his hair, trying to, I think, just like instinctively trying to like fix it with Naomi in the room. What is it that you want that Eden couldn't be here for?
Well, I just wanted to check in on you. You are one of my children in a sense, and I am your caretaker. And I know how hard it can be to lose a sibling in such violent circumstances.
Do you now?
Yes.
Yeah, I don't think you get to really say that.
And why not? I have. And that is not a lie. I've been working on it.
Yeah, it's also not the whole truth either, though, is it?
You see they kind of sip the coffee very nervously. What do you mean?
Naomi, you're not a very good liar, and even if you were, I can always tell. Tyr showed me my mother's death.
Did he now? As you see they put the coffee down and take a seat. Very, it's in a sense of like routine, like they've practiced this, but with you it seems to have just thrown off and they're improvising at this point. Sit down. Misfoot, I brought somebody here in case, if that story did get out, that we clarify what happened.
Clarify. You want to clarify why you just stood there and watched while my mother was killed. How could you possibly clarify that?
Before I let this person in, are you sure you want to know the truth to this?
No matter what you tell me, I'll know.
But it's still your choice whether if you want to know or not.
I do. I need to know what happened to her.
All right, I'm going to bring them in. Don't be pissed. And don't punch them. You have a tendency to punch things that you're angry at, which is another thing I think we need to work on, because emotionally, we have to learn not to punch
I really... Who is it? Who did you bring?
You see, goes to the door, opens it, kind of seeing you eating, just almost like a very owl-like stare, and then turning over to Xanabar to come in. And you see your brother walk in.
What are you doing here?
I, Naomi asked me to be here.
Why?
You see Eden, door open, they close it before you listen to anything more. You may want to sit down for this, just in case.
And Misfit gestures to the bed that he has not gotten up out of this whole time.
I told you not to say that. I knew they would be sitting. Okay, Naomi. What Tyr showed you as he walks closer and gets within a distance that's comfortable in terms of brothers and being in that distance of, hey, listen to me in this moment. What Tyr showed you was his point of view, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you saw what actually happened.
That doesn't. What are you trying to say?
Mom did die, but not because Naomi didn't do anything. It's not their fault.
Then what did happen?
Looks at Naomi. Naomi gives a nod. So the night of the attack, they all came for us, essentially, the children. We all escaped, but Tyr got lost in the woods. And instead of following Dad, I decided to go and run back to get him. He was young, just born, so I did my best to try to find him. And I did, but I found him near Mom. And Asriel, Naomi, and Mom were all together. Not in the sense fighting each other, but they were fighting with each other in terms of against everybody else. You see, Asriel gave up the truth because they had to. It was an oath they took to never lie on things like this, on pain of death and excommunication, which means a lot to an angel in this circumstance. And they had to do it. So keep that in mind. And she told, but then she came, she got Naomi, and they went to go rescue Mom. But Mom stopped them midway. They knew that even if they did escape, that the Order, all the divine beings that think themselves benevolent, who want to stop the apocalypse, would keep coming after us. So it was her idea to stop it in its tracks by giving herself up. If they gave up the mother of the person who gave up these children, then they might think the children are dead. Because what mother would let you get past their children, especially Thule, who was very known for being protective? It was something that none of them wanted to do, and it was something I was never supposed to see, but I did. And so did Tyr. It was a trick, it was a trap, and Thule took Mom's soul and presented it as a mission complete. And it's the reason why I'm here with you today, why you're here, why all of us are here. She gave up her life so that we could live ours. It was, and she made Naomi promise that we couldn't tell anybody, including the children. I was just lucky that I was there, and I knew, and I had to keep that promise too. She made me keep that promise, and to always protect you and everybody else.
Is this pinging as true?
This is speaking as true, yes.
Misfit has been staring into their cup of coffee, their mug, the whole time that Xanabar has been speaking, telling this story, taking it in, and I think eventually he looks up, but instead of looking at their sibling, they look over at Naomi. What other secrets do you have?
Well, I am a plethora of knowledge. I've lived for eons upon thousands of years, and I've seen a lot of things, from rise of empires
What
to
other
fall of
secrets do you have?
In your case, in particular, none. In my own, besides the one that was just given to you, for everybody else, no, I don't think. I think all those secrets got out. So I have my own, in terms of my own personal life, but beyond that, there's nothing else that is a secret in that sense.
And Misfit throws the cup past Naomi's head, and I think it hits the wall directly behind her and shatters. I'm tired. I'm tired of you giving us the truth in bits and pieces and morsels and stories. The last time we talked, you were supposed to have told me everything about my mother. Nothing else left to say. And now you come here with this. Now you say that my mother abandoned me.
They never abandoned you. You see, Naomi tries to get in close. They never abandoned you. They protected you.
What else
And I
are
made
you
a
hiding?
promise that Miss Root, I've lived very long, and I'm, as you can see, not very good at the parenting thing. But believe me when I say this, is everything I have done is to protect you.
You keep saying that, and yet every time you open your goddamn mouth, you hurt one of us again, and again, and again. So I'm tired. My mother is dead, and now my brother is too. And I'm tired. So no. No.
You see
Naomi?
Ah,
And I think Eden had opened the door when they heard the shattering glass. I think it's time you leave.
you see a look of disappointment, a look of, you can see it on their face of, while you may know pain, I have known worse. You can read it on their face. But they also have a sense of, this is a first for you. And they, yes, Eden, I'm sorry, would you like another cup of coffee, Miss Foot? As they
No.
pick up the pieces. Fantastic. I hope you have a good night's sleep. And you see, on the verge of tears, begins to walk out the door in a hurry fashion with the shards of the cup in their hands.
Xanabar, nice to see you.
You see, he gives an understanding nod, walks over to you, Miss Foot, and grabs your hand. I just wanted to give a heads up. You probably shouldn't come to hell anytime soon. A lot of people blame you for what happened and believe you to be, in a sense of what they're calling you now, kinslayer. I know. But there's something that each of us, including Alwar, wanted to give you. And you see he pulls out what looks like to be kind of a tiny, a bracelet with a little bit of a vial on it that has multicolored sand. And palms it in your hands. This is what we could, in terms of how people do it, ashes. This is Tyr's ashes, in a sense. So We wanted you to have something of his so you can carry on like we all are.
And I think Misfit just starts crying. And they hold on to Xanabar's hand so tightly, and they pull him into a hug, and they just start to sob. Full body racking sobs rolling through him.
You see, he has you in the same grip of just it's okay. I know it's hard to lose somebody, Misfoot, but just don't. It's not your fault, and we all love you, including Arwar, which is a really big fucking deal if she can get past her own bullshit to still say, I love you. Still pissed about the wedding thing, but they'll get over that.
That was for her own benefit.
I know, she makes terrible decisions.
Yeah. Even for a fucking demon.
You see, he lets you go. Try to get some sleep. So please, and looks at you, Eden, don't stay up late.
We won't.
And you see, he just says, I love you, bro.
I love you too. And I think Misfit, when their brother exits the room, kind of gestures for Eden to come back to the bed. And
Eden gets in without question and just almost like it's a habit at this point, wraps you in their arms, tucks you against their chest, and lets you cry.
And I think the last image that we see of the two of them is Misfit just curled up in this ball, this rolling, burning grief going through his body as he's got the bracelet with tears, ashes, so to speak, inside of them. And he's just kind of rolling it around in his hand and crying like incoherent nonsense into Eden's lap.
And from there, we see the night passes, as we see the lights in the house, one by one, go off. It's dark in here. A little humid because it's Florida, and when it gets about March time, the heat starts to come back on. So the fans are whirling as fast as they can. And you all fall into a dreamless sleep. For most of you, when you go to sleep, you immediately find yourself in the middle of a dream. But in this instance, something feels off. As you close your eyes and your mind begins to wander into the edges of that abyss, you see nothing. You feel nothing. Until you all are woken up by thunder that rumbles. As the two of our members are still dreaming and sleeping, we cut right back to Vic, who is having problems sleeping. And with that, Vic, how do we find Vic in this instance, as it's another restless night for them?
I think Vic wakes up, and I think Vic is actually in like their own like room, whatever our room situations are, kind of like the pseudo room. And I think Vic kind of wakes up and like kind of clutches their chest, feeling something, and kind of walks over to the kitchen, grabs like some soup, and then heads over to Heaven's room and kind of leaves that by her bedside door. Not saying anything. Heaven is like asleep, but I think Heaven, for in this situation, Heaven has been asleep for a while. I think Vic just kind of breathes and kind of like rubs a finger off Heaven's arm, kind of having a moment of feeling that divinity, that blood that they share, that energy, and just keep sleeping. I don't know when the next is coming, but you need your rest. And walks out and kind of closes the door and just kind of places her forehead on the door and just exhales as she is thinking about the past month. And then she thinks about how she hasn't eaten all day. And then she goes back into the kitchen to just kind of like make herself something. And I'm assuming she sees like, she's even in the process of going to the kitchen. Does she see anyone?
You see kitchen late night snack. You see with like a bottle of the fanciest wine that they could acquire from the local CVS. You see Naomi just drinking their tears away. You also see what looks like to be Twinkies in the corner, which for this pairing doesn't match, but they're drinking and they're stress eating right now. You see with the Twinkie just in their mouth, very full. Oh hi.
I think there's like soup like on the stove right now. And I think this stuns Vic and calculations start running. Do I say something? Do I say something? Do I go to bed? Do I say something? I can't sleep anyway. And she looks sad. Hey, sad sack.
You see they I tend to eat, and I haven't had sugar in quite a while, as where I was, there was only meat, and not very tasty meat, so I am drinking all the wine I can and eating all the sweets I can. Thank God for my metabolism.
Vic looks just kind of like gross out, not because of like, actually, there's a variety of reasons why Vic just looks gross out in this moment. But does not choose to like sit up on it. Okay, yeah, just really sprinkling on that dimensional trauma. What's going on with you?
Well, I fucked up again. Um, you think you do the best for your kids, and it's you lie here, you lie there, and I do my best. I do my best. Yes, I'm an alien from another world, and I don't know how to raise kids. Am I doing my best? It's yes, but it's complicated. I'm trying my hardest. And, everybody, I understand they have their own feelings and they, are people that are not very considerate of the feelings of others. But I've had a lot of pain in my life. And it just continues on of just like, almost like they're wired, but also like drinking at the same time around the room. At this point, going back and forth at the table.
I think like while she's running back and forth, I think Vic just like kind of just like wrestles the bottle out of her hand. Give me this. Stop doing this. You can eat the Twinkies. You're not drinking this and eating the Twinkies at the same time. It's grossing me out. You want to get more off your chest? You got more thoughts before I like respond or not respond? I could leave. You seem like you kind of need.
No, you can sit down because you know what? I have lost a lot of people in my life. I have lost my mother because I killed them with my sisters. Then I lost both my sisters because one of them I had to kill and the other one had to sacrifice her life for the betterment of her children, which I promised to protect. Then I lost my son, right? That's the kicker. I lost my son, who I thought was killed in action, but no, he's alive and he's coming probably for me and probably going to kill me on top of everyone I've ever imprisoned because they were gonna destroy the world and come back and try to kill you and me. And I spent the last 7 years in hell living off of irradiated water beasts and all manners of creatures that wanted to kill me because for some reason my alien species wants to come back. As you see, they sit down, hands on their heads.
I don't think it's important, so I'm not going to ask whether it was hell or not hell, because I've been there. You have been holding on to a lot.
I lived for over thousands of years. I came to this planet during the Roman era, for Christ's sakes. No pun intended.
Nick's like doing math. Fucking, I don't. And then kind of like gives up because they don't know when that was. Not to sound like a shrink, but have you ever told anyone that stuff?
Of course not. I did tell my son. I was very truthful with him. But look how that turned out. He died, supposedly. So, I thought I'd try a different approach this time. But that didn't work either. So, I'm out at inroads here. You think the scientific method would have chose something by now. But no, nothing works. And I only end up pissing off everyone around me.
I think I don't. And I think Vic kind of grabs her hand and just is like genuinely looking her in the eye. Look, I'm not going to act like I wasn't a fucking teenager for the past 10 years, literally. But sounds like you need people, Naomi. And take it from one person who has fucked off a couple of many relationships in the past, 27 years. Even if you don't feel like a good person ever, you still need people. And it sounds like you haven't had people. It sounds like you haven't let people in your life in a really, 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 really long time. And
Vic,
believe me.
Can I tell you something in confidence? As you see, they're slurring their words.
I guess.
You promise you can't tell anybody, including Miss Food or Eden or Dell, who I don't know if you're still,
I'm gonna let you have this until morning, and we'll reconnect about it. But sure, I will make this promise in this very specific instance.
I'm dying.
Great. That sounds like an even worse way to be spending your last couple of years, Naomi.
Oh, it's not a couple years. I don't know how much time I have left. Because again, I spent the past 7 years in an irradiated hellhole, which ate at my power cells that run me, or energy, whatever it is. I'm starting to age at an accelerated rate. Hence why I look 50 and not my usual spring self.
Well, what do you want to do?
I just want to protect you kids. I want to find my son and, tell them I'm sorry. I don't know what happened. I didn't betray him. That wasn't me. I don't know who did, but when I find them, I'll rip them a new whatever the hole is called.
And Vic is like thinking for a long while. I'm gonna. No wonder heaven acts just like you. Hey, Naomi, your dreams, your goals are bullshit.
Pray tell, what do you mean?
We can take care of ourselves, and your son presumably is already out there. I think you need to pivot.
Vic, as you see they get very close. Sorry. I've spent the past eons devoting myself to protecting the world, which is a full-time job. What am I going to do with myself if I'm not protecting, raising, or training?
Be fucking unemployed? Fuck, drink, smoke? I don't know. That's for you to decide.
And what about my son? He's going to kill all of you. In a fit of rage, probably.
Look, you don't need to bury another person, but we'll figure it out.
I don't like your thinking.
That sucks.
I'm gonna go get another bottle.
Take this one. Just take this one.
Thank you.
Go hit some trees or something, champ. Just kind of like spins her and pushes her towards the door.
I'm gonna make a birdhouse at 3 o'clock in the morning because I can do that.
Good luck.
Love you. As you see, they kind of
Love you too.
drunk fly into the wall and then just almost like ping pong. Doof, 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 doof.
Man, I did not know she could fly, huh? Okay. I think Vic just takes the pot of soup, hot, fully hot, and is just scooping it. No, sorry, even less gross, drinking it. Like from the pot. Fuck it. Who needs to be affected by fire? And Vic just kind of leaves the kitchen, thinking about how for the first time ever, probably not first time, she had to parent a parent, and that's going to affect her for a very long time. But you know what? Hey, that's a next season problem. Vic goes back to sleep. And I think she falls asleep faster than she expected after
You got
drinking
soup. That's just, that's the.
Yeah, I mean, hey, soup, a little bit of trauma bonding, put you right to bed.
Who needs NyQuil, right? With that, you immediately go to sleep. Same instance of that dark, flightless dream. Until you hear the thunder as well. And as you all slowly wake up, as the camera looks at you from a bird-eye's view, you're all laid out equally as you feel water on you. Almost like in a sense of you're in a puddle and half your body's in it. And as you look up, you see floating hexagonal spires broken against what looks like to be a purple sky that thunders constantly. What do you do?
Are we with each other? Like, do we all see each other?
You do. For you specifically, Miss Foot, you see Eden on the left, Vic on the right. You don't see Heaven anywhere.
Eden sits up really fast, I think. And their eyes are a little unfocused. And then something comes over them and they can almost feel the other two mythics with them. And there's a moment of panic where they're like, okay, you two are both here. And they look back up into the sky. Are we dreaming right now? Is this a dream?
I don't know. Where's Heaven?
I think Vic kind of feels at their heart, and I'm assuming that feeling that Heaven is still safe.
Relatively, it's a 50-50. You feel weird in here. You feel that they're safe, but you also feel something's coming for them, in a sense. Something's either chasing them, or maybe something has enclosed them or captured them.
Heaven is fine, but we need to get out of here. What the fuck's going on? Is this your dream state again, Eden?
No, this isn't mine, but I don't like that we're here.
Looks to Misfit. Is it yours?
I don't think so. It doesn't look familiar to me. I assume it's not yours if you're asking.
I don't think my shit would be this peaceful.
You can say that again.
That's fair.
And I think
As you all, oh no, continue. Please continue.
no, go for it.
As you all are kind of getting up, half of your back soaked, still in whatever clothes you were wearing at the moment, you see what looks like to be another beach. Similar almost to Eden's, but different, as the sand is more starry-like rather than gold. And you can see that there's a cavern of that same sort of hexagonal spires or rocks. And in the distance, you can see something glowing, waiting at the entrance, just watching.
There's something there.
Is it waiting for us?
Hope not.
Only one way to find out, I suppose.
Okay, let's walk towards the fucked up dream spire.
Wish I had my fucking shoes. Eden grouses as they kind of like pull their trouser legs up and cuff them a little bit around the knee.
Yeah. I think Misfit is one of those people who went to bed in socks, and now the socks are just completely waterlogged, so he like takes them off. I think just kind of like leaves them floating in the water as we walk.
I think Vic is wearing a shirt and ordinarily no pants, but this time we're lucky.
Vic doesn't sleep in her underwear?
I think Vic fell asleep with the soup, so was like wearing like a shitty shirt that like barely fits and like basketball shorts.
We're walking to the Dream Spire.
You begin to walk towards it, and you see that the figure sees you approaching and begins to blend into the rock, almost walking into whatever cavern this is. You begin to walk onto the beach, and you can see the entrance that's laid out before you is for something to walk on. But you see what looks like to be makeshift defenses in terms of spikes made of metal that have been just cut to almost act as barriers. You see the whole outside of this is almost a defense of some sort to keep stuff out. And as you walk into the cavern itself, you see there are claw marks of creatures of various sizes and of types that have fought in here for some reason, trying to get in. And it towers ever so high. You don't know how high it goes, but you notice that at a certain point, whatever light source is here dies out, giving only a dark purple hue to the remaining environment. Until you reach the center of this place, as you can see what looks like to be a makeshift, almost shack of some sense. You see it's made of different metals. You see that it's also built into the cave, so it acts as an entrance. And you see there's a way laid out before you for you to enter inside if you so wish.
I don't suppose we see another way around, do we?
I guess not.
You see it's almost in a sense of like a chokehold. It's in a sense of like there's only one way in and one way out, which is great for defense, but if you lose that, you'll die here.
Why does it feel like we're walking into a fort? or a trap?
Because we are. But it seems like we have an invitation, because I can imagine that if whoever lives here didn't want us in, we would not be going.
And I think at that, Misfit kind of instinctively goes to their side of their pants to grab their sword. And it's not there, because they don't sleep with that. And so they're like, fuck. Well, let's hope that this isn't a trap.
$10 says I know who it is.
With that, who walks in first?
All right, Eden.
Fantastic. Eden, you walk in first. You see, you put your arm against what looks like to be a damp cloth that's made out of hides. Push it over. And as you enter, you see what looks like to be a place carved out of stone. And in the far distance, you see a figure with their hood on, currently painting against one of the walls. You see, as you enter into the left, you see what looks like to be almost like if a survivor or a prisoner was counting the days. You see just a wall, maybe 2 feet, 3 feet, stories tall, filled to the brim of how many days they've been here, to a point that it looks like they may have just stopped at a certain point. And on the other wall, which you see painted, you see 3 figures being painted. It's a very beautiful mural that's very tarot-like, as you see what looks like to be 2 individuals on the side with one. The one on the left seems to look feminine in nature. You see they have glowing orange hair, and with that looks like to be army fatigues, old army fatigues, and holding their hand on somebody's shoulder. On the other one, you see what looks like to be slightly taller, brown skin, almost what looks like to be half their body transforming into a bear with their other hand on that figure. And in the center, you see what looks like to be almost shorter than the both of them slightly. Brown skin with their arms glowing blue with cracks in them, with the same set of fatigues. As you see, that is the one that the figure with their hood up is currently painting.
Eden comes in and allows, space for Vic and Misfit to follow. They give just kind of like a sidelong look at the 2 of them. Are any of those figures being painted like specifically recognizable, or paying any kind of resemblance to anyone that we've met before?
Not to your knowledge, except for the one in the middle. For, I think you kind of remember this person in the middle a little bit, but for Misfit, you have a better memory of this, as this looks slightly similar to the photo that you took a quick peek at before when Naomi left.
And I think with that information, Misfit just kind of, I think without even thinking about it, I think this happens without him meaning to say it out loud. But he says, "Is that Naomi's brother?"
You see that the figure responds back in a tone most familiar to most of you. Naomi didn't have a brother, or not in a sense of a kind of maybe family born.
Only sisters and a son. What's
Yep.
up, asshole?
You see, not moving, just painting. You don't have to be so mean now.
You literally stole us out of our beds and we're in pajamas. If you wanted an invitation where we behaved, you should have sent a good invitation.
You didn't even give me a chance to put on a shirt.
You see, he puts his painting tools down and puts his hood back. You see the same glowing skin all across his face. Forgive me, I just thought I could catch you off guard when you were sleeping, which it seems that I did.
Off guard for what? Are you gonna kill us here? This is the arena you've chosen?
I find it rather underwhelming, personally.
Those who are scared tend to puff out their chest in moments of fear.
Do I
you
look
fear
afraid to
me?
you?
Can you, specifically for this one, Eden, can you please act under pressure to see if you keep your cool?
Yeah! I was like, who's rolling dice tonight? Not me, but here we are. Oh god. Oh, someone help me. Okay. Specifically
Double
these dice.
sixes,
You need
no
to help me.
whammy. Double sixes, no whammy.
Double sixes, no whammy. Got no cool. That's okay. I'm gonna use a luck. Make that a 12. I'm not gonna break face in front of this guy.
He stares at you intimately in terms of your eyes, very of reading you from top to down. Unflinching, unwavering, you can see just the faintest echo for people behind you of your wings before they dissipate. I'm not here to fight any of you. I'm here to learn from you. I guess I'm curious about each of you. I know your middle parts of your stories. I know your ending, but I don't know your beginning. I'm curious.
No? Didn't you rip that out of me earlier? I believe you were in the audience.
That wasn't me, and I would like to formally apologize for the actions of those two miscreants. And that was the middle. Let's be very honest with ourselves. Even though we did see a little bit, that isn't exactly where Eden started.
So what, we're just supposed to sit here and share story time with you? So that you can, what, use that against us later? Do we look stupid?
No, I don't expect you to give it up just like that. So, you see him sit down. I'm willing to offer a trade, if you be so kind. I, in exchange for your stories, will tell you about me, as I know you all are very curious about who I am. And I shall start off with this. As you see that his face region begins to retract, as you see almost like glass, as he begins to show off brown skin, short, messy black hair with the iris color of their eyes to be chrome in nature and glimmering. My name is Alejandro Fernandez, and as many of you have guessed, I am the son of Naomi. It is a pleasure to meet you all. Formally, in this case.
Oh. Oh. So that's the picture that I saw.
Where'd you get a picture from?
Naomi's files.
Oh, it's good.
The agency kept a picture of my lovely mug for quite some time.
If you're Naomi's son, what are you doing leading the AD trying to destroy the world? That doesn't quite make sense to me.
Well, that is what you will learn in exchange for your stories. You want to know me? I want to know you.
I don't trust you. You go first.
We need to exchange stories. I'm not just going to give that willingly.
Yeah, so you tell us one first. Then we'll tell you one. And so on and so forth.
Fine. You may want to grab a seat, though. It's going to get a little bit of long-winded. We wouldn't want you to get tired now.
And I guess Misfit will walk into this cavern space. And I think specifically they are going to look for like a rock, comfortable-ish looking, flat-ish looking rock that is underneath this mural that is being painted. So that we can get a better look at the details of it all.
And the rest of you, what are you guys? Eden and Vic, what about you?
I think Vic just takes a seat there in the air, kind of flattening the air to make a nice, comfortable seat as she kind of crosses her legs and just. All right, don't make it dreadful now.
Eden gives Vic like kind of a sidelong look, like really like show off, as she just like floats in the air, and then also makes their way kind of and sits, not on the rock, but kind of by Misfit's feet on the ground.
Come around the fire as you see their fingers snap as a campfire forms. And listen to my story of woe. And that is where we'll take a quick break right quick. So get water, use the bathroom before we get into this sweet, sweet lore. See you right quick. Hello, everyone, and welcome back. With that, let's get back into it, folks. As we, vroom, you see the room around you begin to transform. And with it, Eden, this place seems very familiar to you, but it's different in terms of like it looks newer. You see Alejandro get up, much like you. I wasn't initially a part of the agency. See, when I was born, a war had started. And you see him, you see the beginnings of the Second World War. I, like many others, wanted to serve not only my country, but my community. And above all else, I wanted to make my mother proud. But she didn't want me to fight in this war. You see it form again into two people arguing. She said it wasn't our responsibility to clean up the mess of others. But like many other monsters in the community, I couldn't turn my head away from what was happening. And with some connections of people I knew through my mother, I got a spot on what the agency called at the time Project Typhoon. And the person who gave this to me was Hobbs. As you see, a younger looking Frankenstein with the scars still a little bit more fresh, clean cut, as you see him pleading to him. See, the project was different. Not only did the agency have to find a way to help on the war front, but for some reason another counteragency or cult, depending on your definition of it, known as the Silver Creed, began to use the chaos as a way to bring about what they called in Latin Mulatto Magnus, the great warrior. And the agency had to stop it. Now, this project was extremely experimental, with many people dying. And the whole point of it was to bring out one's magical potency or to bring out that inner power that you have. And one day, it was my turn, as you see him connected up on a table. He's strapped in, and Eden, you see a figure that you haven't seen in a long time, Dr. Martinez. You know the doctor to be somebody in your own experience who did a lot of experiments, nothing harmful, just very observatory and very, in a sense, to test your ability. So not a negative connotation in that sense, but very scientific and to the point. You see him setting him up and injecting him with something that looks like a neon purple into his bloodstream as he's strapped with the machine that has multiple rings around it. As you know, Dr. Martinez was an angel who forsake his divinehood to help us mortals. And in this sense, this was his piece of the resistance. I knew the stakes and I knew the risk, but I still wondered if it was me who made that decision, and if it was the right one, or if it was fate. As my mother, as always, barged in. We see the experiment begin to go off, the rings, vroom, vroom, vroom. But we see that in almost like a testing area where they can view it in terms of like a gallery, you see Naomi burst in. The guards try to stop her, but she just hits them with this wave of energy as she shatters through the glass. She tries to stop the machine, but as she almost rips it apart, him fighting back, you see what looks like to be a wave of energy hit her in the back and begin to vroom, flow into him. And soon you start to see his eyes begin to change into that chrome, and his skin begin to form until poof, dust covers the place. And emerging from this smoke, you see an almost godlike figure emerge to what you see today. And you see him go, from that point on, I wasn't just Alejandro Fernando. I was, by definition, the first Mythic, and the reason why you are all in this program to begin with. But I think I've shared enough for now. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, as he turns to you, Eden, you were in a very similar place when you first started.
Wouldn't call it similar. But fine. You want a memory? Let me show you a memory of what I do to people who have a little bit too much of a god complex. And I think Eden starts trying to pull on the memory of their time in the Vatican, like making these images like pull and switch and glitch until they are being pulled into like stained glass relief and like old ancient marble stone, as they're like trying to pull this memory in a certain direction.
You pull it, and it's almost like switching a channel. You already can see the memory you're pulling, you're in mid-fight. You're fighting off countless angels as the Pope is currently in full garb running for his life. And you see the Dark King kind of pauses it in a sense. I already know this story. And to be honest, not your finest work. No. I said beginning, not middle.
What? And I think this version of Eden and the version like that's in the memory, both of them kind of go, what? And they like miss the shot with their shotgun, right? Like both in the memory and out of it, like it's mirrored back and forth as they like furrow their brow, looking kind of like actually rather insulted at the Dread King. And in this like moment of distraction, all of the splinters of the stained glass like kind of shatter and break apart and start forming this like almost swirling tornado of light and color and glass around Eden until it the glass like runs down until it's sand, this like multicolored sand that like swirls around and then like for a moment kind of like sinks into the ground, because their magic is Tears and Tears' magic is theirs, you know. And it kind of like settles against the ground until it forms a chalk circle around Eden, who I think is in like a very, very similar testing chamber, so to speak, with this like chalk circle that they have drawn like by hand, engraved into the ground. And suddenly they're not, you know, like 20 something and trying to shoot the Pope with a very fine looking shotgun. They're like maybe 13, you know, very scraggly, very much wearing like a button-up white shirt that is like too big for them at the shoulders and the hips, you know what I mean? And it's like rolled up, the sleeves are too long, so they're rolled up around his arms, and somehow like they still look kind of raggedy and disheveled, even though they're like, it's very obvious they're trying to look as best they can. And I imagine that like Naomi and maybe Dr. Martinez and a handful of other initiative individuals, maybe Hobbs, are also like watching the ritual chamber as Eden is kind of like nervously pacing around the center of this chalk circle.
You see the doctor gets up to you. Eden, you all right? You good?
Yeah, no, I'm gonna do it. Just like, you know, Naomi wants. And we're gonna get, fuck, who are we gonna get? Who am I supposed to call?
I'll leave it up to Naomi. Just you see he gets comfort. Don't worry about it. You're gonna do fine, kid, okay?
Right. Yeah, no, I can do it. I'm gonna do it.
turns around, you see what looks like almost if a bird got its wings cut as you see along his back. You see Naomi come over, young in that as you remember them beforely. All right, big day. You are going to be trying to find this person. As you see, she pulls up a picture of Alejandro. We just are concerned in a sense. We just want to double check. I doubt you're going to find anything, but try to see if you can find this person.
Okay. Yes, ma'am. And like Eden kind of does like a little like mini, like they take the picture and they study it very closely. They take it to the center of the circle, and I think they even like put it down. And they look nervous. They kind of are like playing with their fingers a little bit, cracking the bone. And part of them like looks over their shoulder at Naomi. And they're almost wearing the kind of expression of somebody, of like a child who doesn't want to go to their first day of school and like needs a little bit more reassurance. Are you sure I can do it? Am I really ready? All of the text said that summoning is like 7th or 8th level ability, and we've only been working on level 4 foundations.
Eden, I believe in you wholeheartedly. You and your sibling are some of the most talented individuals I have ever had the pleasure of knowing. So believe this when I say with all my heart, no lies attached. I know you can do this.
Okay.
You see they kiss you on the forehead. I love you.
And that seems to like fill Eden with like a sense of purpose, right? Like that kind of like their eyes get a little bit big and shimmery, even though they're still like dull gold. And like for a 13-year-old, they have insane eye bags. You know what I mean? Like, but their face kind of lights up for a moment as they turn, and this like very determined look comes over their face as they close their eyes and center all of this power. And I think like even the lights in the room start to like flicker a little bit as Eden just starts to, at this stage and age, I don't think that they have any control over what kind of energy they start to pull out and into themselves, as they start to channel any and everything they have just through the room, through the sigils and runes that are marked in the salt on the floor, and trying to find them, the person who will bring them the greatest joy of making Naomi proud.
For you close your eyes, you begin to focus. And for you, it's almost like looking through glass. Different colors, different vestiges, you see different doors to different places.
Come on, where are you? I need you, come on. Where are you?
You shift through, in and out, until you get a feeling. And as you follow it, you find yourself on that same beach with the rocks floating. And you see in the far distance someone who seems to be in tattered clothes dragging something across the sand.
Hey, this way.
You see they stop, pull their hood down as you see Alejandro. Who are you?
You need to come with me. Come on, just take my hand.
You see him run up to you, not in a violent fashion or something of combat, but just running up as a relief. You can see on his face there's excitement, there's happiness. And as you touch his hand, something psychically whiplash you. Energy as you see the sand begin to, and you see that outside of your ritual, we see your body floating. You see the machinery around you crushing, people ducking. You see somebody trying to stop you before they turn into sand themselves, getting swept in as we see what looks like to be a portal opening as they've made something to tap into you. And with that, you see the portal open. You kind of close your eyes out, and something walks out before sand, dust, and smoke are everywhere as everyone's kind of coughing.
And I think Eden is in pain. Like they could feel where the magic is biting at them, eating at them, pulling more and more and more and more, that they feel like they barely have enough to give. And I think they're like on their knees, just kind of crumpled down in the center of the circle as all of the dust and sand is kind of settling, and they like peer their eyes open through the sand, looking at the figure and they reach their hand out again.
In this instance, Misfit, you were in your room. You don't know where you are. It's dark. There are humans everywhere. Smoke, and for some reason, tear sand is from place to place. What do you do in this instance as you find yourself not in your element?
I think at first, the first thing that Misfit registers, this 12, 13-year-old little Misfit who I think similarly is wearing like the hand-me-down tattoo, his hair a little bit shorter than it is now. And I think at first he sees the sand, tear sand, and I imagine at this point in time, Tyr has been missing for a little bit, and it like surprises them at first, and they look at the sand and they kind of like frantically start looking around, imagining that their sibling, their brother, must be here, must be somewhere around nearby. And I think then they see this hand from this dusty atmosphere kind of reaching out towards him, and assuming that it's his brother's hand, I think Misfit reaches out to hold it.
And I assume as the dust clears, right, like as the sand like finally fades down, as Eden like feels something concrete on the other half, knowing that they've done it, that they've brought what they needed here, their eyes clear and the dust settles and they see each other for the first time. And for a moment, there's just like open shock on Eden's face before their eyebrows lower, quirk upward and down. Who are you?
You're not my brother.
What? No,
What?
You're not. Who are you?
Why am I? Did you need some? You've got the wrong person. I think you're looking for my father.
No, I don't want your father.
Who
are you?
You're not trying to make a deal with the devil.
No. Why would I be trying to do that?
People do it all the time. What? Sorry. What do you? Wait. Are you actually?
See out of the smoke, Naomi, Misfit?
And this person, this mortal, this person that Misfit has never seen before, knowing his name, I think, brings him back. And I think this whole time he had still been holding like Eden's hand, and they like let go and pull back, and they say, how do you know my name?
Yeah, your father. I know your father. What are you doing here? I thought... Eden, did you find somebody?
Yes, I did. I did. I did it right. I don't know what's happening. I did it right, though. I did.
You see the doctor. Look, Eden, it's okay. If you didn't find him, you didn't find him.
No, I did. I was on the beach.
I don't know what you're talking about. I wasn't on a beach.
You see, doctor. Look, everybody, let's just clean this up. We'll deal with this later. You see, there's kind of an air of disappointment around. Yeah, let's just clean it up. You see Naomi. Well, this is going to be a very difficult conversation to have. Look, good job, Eden. We'll get him next time.
No, I did it, Naomi. Please, let me try it again.
You see Hobbs come in. You're not going to be trying anything again. Naomi,
Why not?
this was never supposed to happen. You see there's an air of all the scientists trying to, like, cover their face and trying to leave. Naomi, I told you this was unauthorized, and yet you did it anyway. No regard for this, and now we have a son of the devil here, which is going to be a great PR disaster. Congratulations.
This looks like an uncomfortable situation that I'm maybe not supposed to be. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna leave a few mortals to whatever it is that you're doing right now.
You're not going anywhere.
Wait, you're the son of the...
Both of you, Naomi, were talking. Devil child, stay there.
Creative.
As the scene begins to cut away, as you see Alejandro look over the two of you. An interesting meeting. They didn't believe you when you told them you saw me.
Nobody ever believes me. Especially not when I was 12.
That tends to happen. I apologize for that. See, you didn't really understand that spell at the time. It's meant to find the closest relation, in which I was not very close at all. Instead, Misfit was.
And I think Misfit seeing this memory from Eden's perspective for the first time, I think the sentence, the phrase that keeps going over in their head is Eden saying or thinking or feeling to themselves this idea of finding the person that will make them happiest. And I think that keeps rolling around in his head, and with Eden at their feet, I think Misfit just kind of like puts a hand on Eden's shoulder and just kind of like gently like rubs it. I hope you found what you were looking for.
I think Eden's face had sort of gone back to that like 12-year-old discontent, you know, where they're like, I actually still am mad about that, actually. So their face was like a little bit like pinched, you know, in annoyance. But as soon as Misfit's hand kind of comes and rests on their shoulder, they almost jump as it lands on them, and then they follow the arm like up to Misfit's face and soften a little bit. And like almost turn around and try to like hide the like small flush of their cheeks like underneath their face as they like pinch their brow. Shut up.
I'm never letting you live that one down.
Oh, shut up.
Yes.
Not in front of Vic, please.
I think Vic has moved closer while the thing was happening.
It's quite beautiful what you all have. It reminds me of what I had before they took it from me. I think it's time
And what
to share
did you
it.
have?
I had what you have now. I had the love, or loves in this instance, of my life. You see, it begins to change once more as you find it raining. A castle in the background. It's very interesting how far Naomi goes for all of you. It was very different for me. See, once I became a mythic, I was put into the war immediately to fight on the front lines and also to stop the Silver Creed. My mother didn't approve of it, and we lost communication and touch for some time. It was during this time, as I found myself at my loneliness, that I found the loves of my life. The first one I found was Cleo. As you see the image of a red-haired woman with green eyes and sort of palish white skin. She was a nurse that didn't want to do much healing and wanted to be more on the front lines. Lucky for her, me and her ended up in the same plane as it got shut down, and from there, romance blossomed. Even though when you're trying to dodge a tank shell and having a date, it gets hard. But we loved each other. And just when I thought it couldn't get better, it did. With Aiden. As you see, what looks like to be a taller figure, black skin, a little bit of a scruffle. Aiden was a werebear, a little bit of a rarer instance in that sense, but he saved me when I was taking fire within the Black Forest. You think finding one person in this life is hard enough, let alone two. But together I felt something I couldn't feel at home. I felt whole in a sense. I felt me. But that would change. Our last mission before I was determined KIA, killed in action, was at a place called Harrenson Castle in Germany. The last of the Silver Creed were held up in the castle as they were trying to unleash this warrior on the world. And we were tasked with taking it down, along with Hobbs and a number of other agents. And we went in guns blazing. I mean, we took inch by inch. They threw tanks, creatures of night, demons, angels. They threw everything they had at us, and we did it together. We got to the throne room of the area. As you see, it begins to change. And you see the same machine, Eden, that they were using to try to bring in this case, Alejandro, but who you brought in was Misfit. We only had to set up charges so we could blow the castle and dip. And we did. Until Hobbs came in the room. We thought he was there to help, but apparently the agency didn't feel the same way about me. See, this mission was at the end of the war. And that question that I didn't think they would ask entered their minds of, what do we do with a soldier with no war? And they were afraid of what I could do. And as you know from personal experience, mortals tend to dread what they don't know. As you see Hobbs pull a pin, toss a grenade in their direction, as you see the charges go off and the explosion. They thought they killed me, but what they did was far worse. As you see, he takes his two beloveds and goes into the portal right before the explosion goes off. As you find him in the same area you are now, that beach, purple skies, and floating rocks. They would later call this Sector Z, but in actuality, its name is Zaris. And it is the home world of Naomi's people that was ravaged for some reason. A portal to another dimension that they wanted for some reason. And we were stuck. No way home, the parts of the portal on the other side broken. And for the next 40 years, I tried to find a way back and to save the only two people I felt that cared about me in the world. But that's enough said on my part. As I said before, a story for a story. I think I know who I want to see next, as he turns his head to you, Vic. And Misfit. What were your beginnings?
Well, my beginning starts with them. And Vic looks over to Misfit.
Yeah. It does, doesn't it? I almost forgot about that. I guess it's a weird irony in it all, isn't it? I got pulled in by you, Eden. And you got pulled in by me. And I think as Misfit is talking, the imagery around us starts to shift. I think it starts to burn at the edges, like a photograph set on fire. And the embers start to fall to the ground. And as they do in the ash, I think from the ash on the ground, a new image starts to form. A new image of Misfit, slightly older now, I think, by maybe like a couple of years. I think maybe we're like 14, 15 at this point. And Misfit has grown out his hair a little bit. You know, he's got like the tiny little ponytail going on. The tattoo looks a little bit more like it fits their body, still a little bit too large, still clearly a hand-me-down. And they are, for all intents and purposes, taking a walk, I think, out into the forest. And yeah, I will let you set the scene, Chris.
You're in Indiana, specifically a place called Nemo, which is a weird name and little known. You don't know what an Indiana is. It's a state, apparently. But you find yourself in what looks like to be dense woods. You came in by helicopter. As you remember, Naomi is there, along with the military, as something truly disastrous happened to Nemo. As when you came in, the town had cracks of lava as big as almost 20-foot caverns going across it, as something had literally sunk in the town and set it on fire. At the moment, Naomi told you to stay put. Don't go anywhere, as whatever is out there may still be out there. But as you sat near the edge of that wood that wasn't burning, you felt an echo. You felt something call you. And you're a demon. What, a mortal with a gun or a bear in the woods is going to hurt you, please. So you decided to take a stroll. Just you in the woods.
And I don't think that Misfit has been taking any of this very seriously at all. Probably throughout their time with the Mythics, I don't think they've taken any mission very seriously at all, to be honest, because in Misfit's perspective, I think the mortals keep getting upset about, I don't know, murders, disasters, burnings, whatever. And in his eyes, well, that's going to happen anyway. All of this, your world, it's not going to exist for long, and I'm going to be the one burning it down. So why get so worked up about it? And so I think Misfit is like very casually, I think like hands in their pockets, like whistling some song to himself, like walking through this deep wood, following this feeling, following this pull with curiosity rather than fear, I think. Trying to find what it is that's calling him.
Vic, you see this because you've able to get yourself out of a crater, and you see military people. That's not usually a great mix for a person that they're probably looking for, and you see hiding in the woods as you've found an advantage to hide from people. As you know these woods like the back of your hand, you see this weird looking demon white-ish person. They have horns on their head, and it doesn't look like it's a costume. And you're scared. You're freaking out. And so, what do you do in this instance as you see this person seems to be trying to find you?
Yeah. And I think Vic was up in a tree, maybe like surrounded. There's other trees, and this is why maybe like Misfit or anyone hasn't noticed. The other trees have melted, like not fully, but like the tops of the trees have melted as if Vic has been jumping from tree to tree, not to like let people find her. And I think as Misfit's probably walking through, she's like, I think she was crying. Just like, no, come on, this fucking sucks. I don't deserve this. I don't even know what happened.
Are you crying loud enough for me to hear you?
I think not, because she's been like, I think this is one of the moments in which she thought she had peace. And then maybe because of Misfits kind of just like walking through, you like step on a stick. And she just like stops immediately and is like looking.
And I think you see Misfit just walking underneath the tree. And I imagine that feeling, like, I imagine that as he's following this feeling, this pull, they kind of like walk past your tree. And then the feeling brings him right back around. And for a little while, I think Misfit kind of like curiously is walking in circles around this tree, trying to find the source of it, and doesn't really think to look up necessarily. I think he's doing the opposite. He's like trying to look within the earth instead, trying to find like some sort of hole or something buried in the dirt, maybe. So I think you can see them kind of like digging into the ground, like trying to find whatever this is, whoever this is that is pulling at them.
And I think this like unnerves Vic, like in a good way. So, what the fuck? Hey.
Hey. Oh my god, I didn't see you there.
And you see this like, because I think it's been weeks, this relatively like emaciated, like maybe wearing like a pastel color, like Easter pink, like perfect, but it's perfectly maintained, almost as if it's not Vic's, in these dirty pants, kind of just with this like wild unkempt hair and maybe like longer than expected nails. What are you doing?
What are you doing? You don't look so good.
You don't look like you're supposed to be working for the military. Why are you in this forest?
I guess I guess technically I do work for them. It's complicated. I don't really. It's fine. Are you? And I think at this point, Misfit realizes that like this feeling that he's having, that this pull, this draw is coming from Vic specifically. I think it kind of like hones in on Vic, like a candle burning the last bit of its wick. Huh. You want to come down here first? It can't be good up there.
Not really. You just said you work for the military. And I think at that point, Vic kind of hops up on one more ledge. And I think inadvertently you kind of hear this burning of, it's not a lot of it, but like the burning of the ledge or the branch that she was on kind of maybe even breaks it.
Ah, so you're the one that they're looking for. Did you burn a whole town?
It's not how it went. I don't think.
Why don't you tell me how it did go?
You care?
I'm
What,
curious.
you gonna lure me into a false sense of security or some shit? I've seen the tapes. I've heard stories.
No, I don't have any interest in that. Look, if you tell me what happened, I can save you, maybe. Get them to not kill you.
And I think of it kind of like almost in the same position that she's in presently, bends and like sits crisscross. Okay. that's it, right?
What?
I just tell you a story and I don't have to, I don't know, get put in a cage.
No?
I'm
I mean,
not a fucking monster.
that's unfortunate. I am. And they still haven't put me in a cage. And I think
No,
Misfit looks up at Vic, and you can see, like, in clear relief, like, Misfit's eyes, you can see, like, the blood red scleras, the white line coming down, bisecting their eyes.
Hmm.
Nothing wrong with
Okay.
being a monster.
If that were true, and then kind of like gestures vaguely to the troops of people kind of running through everywhere and the helicopters flying above. Yeah, okay.
I'm not very good at climbing, if you want to come down.
And I think Vic begins to like climb down very slowly. And I think it's slow because Vic's not watching where they're going. Like he's climbing down, but staring at you for the whole time, waiting for you to like move an inch.
And I don't think Misfit does. I think he just kind of like stands there, hands still in his pockets, just like looking, watching Vic climb down with amusement.
Are you smiling?
This is interesting. It's the most interesting thing that has happened in like weeks.
You're weird.
Thanks. So are you.
Fuck you. And I think Vic like doesn't like gets down but doesn't move forward or backwards, just kind of like you can tell that she's like awkwardly inside of this like sweatshirt, this pastel pink sweatshirt, and I think it has like a bunny on it. So there's not much to tell. I was having dinner with this, family that did with her family. And then stuff kind of went sideways as it always does when a bad parent decides to come in and start yelling. And then I woke up.
Woke up in a burning town.
And I think you can see that Vic kind of like tightens at that, but and like doesn't look at your gaze. Yeah.
Well, if you ask me, I probably deserved it.
Who, me?
No. You know, the bad parent and everyone else.
And I think Vic like lunges forward at you. No, don't fucking say that about her. It's my friend.
Sorry. Okay. I just don't think that you should beat yourself up over this. That's all.
I mean, bad dad, yeah, but like, Anna was, you know, and Vic, you can tell like doesn't have a lot of vocabulary right now. That's, I just want her to be okay.
Will be. I think you just need practice.
Practice what?
Doing whatever it is that you do. And
No,
Misfit, I think, like points to the branch that Vic had like singed and like burned off that had fallen to the ground.
that just kind of happens. I don't know I can't do that.
Seems like you can. You wanna be friends?
Why?
Looks like you could use one. You're interesting. I know some people who I think you would be really into. Well, one of them. The other one's kind of annoying, but
Do you have food?
and I think Mr. like kind of like scrounges into their pockets, pulls out like a half-eaten granola bar, and kind of tosses it at Vic.
And I think Vic eats it and then like spits it out. Ew, it tastes like shit.
Yeah, it's military food. They didn't give me like fucking foie gras or whatever.
No, it tastes like a fucking rock.
Okay.
There's like no taste to this.
Oh, okay. What do you want to eat?
I don't know.
You hear in the distance, Misfit!
Oh,
Vic jumps behind a tree.
no, don't worry. That's me. I didn't actually introduce myself. Misfit. And he holds out a hand.
They say I'm vicious.
Vicious. It's nice to meet you.
And I think it cuts there. As you see the king turn around. I see you also understand the importance of making friends.
Vic is a
Really? One of
roll
us is kind of
ignorance.
annoying.
I was talking about heaven.
We know.
I mean, they were annoying.
Shut up.
I said were. Past
Okay.
tense.
Oh. The devil flies has a heart. Lovely.
And I think
You
at that, they look at Eden.
Yeah, there's a shared look.
You can see there's a slight smile or smirk that you've never seen before on his face. You remind me a lot of my own family. Which makes this next part hard for me. You see, the area around you dissipates. One last story. You see it cuts back. 40 years had passed since you were stuck here. You don't age here. But there's something about its air, there's something about its feeling, which I've only assumed or scientifically put it down to as a form of acute irradiation. For me, it only made me stronger each day I spent here. But for Cleo and Aiden, it killed them slowly. You see a grave being dug. Aiden died from a monster attack while defending our home when I wasn't there. And the radiation stopped his healing factor, so he just, he bled out while I wasn't there to help. And that chips at you. For the next 10 years, it was just me and Cleo. I tried to reconstruct the machine. I did it from memory, piece by piece, but I couldn't get it to work. I tried everything, and the pressure and the consequences of failure hit me every night until Chloe's death. As you see, it begins to cut into a makeshift bed. You see the woman is sickly, veins glowing purple, holding their hand very tightly as possible. You know, in her dying breath, she told me to forgive them for what they did to us, for they dread the things that they do not understand, and to have patience when I would come back home, before she died in my arms, you see the body lifeless. And the next part you see, he doesn't look, but shows you. As you see him digging the grave next to Aiden, crying, but the rain covering his face. As he takes both their dog tags and puts it around his neck. You see him in between each of the grave, there's a space where he is fetal position, holding both of his hands in the dirt. When I lost the two people that ever gave a damn about me, I felt nothing. I felt emptiness. And when you hit that low, something always comes. As you can hear a voice echo in his mind. I don't know where it came from, but it was almost like a feeling, like an instruction. And I found what I was missing. Power cell. See, the Zarathians, or aliens, they use technology very advanced from what our own, but there's one thing that was constant in all their designs, which was the energy. And I found it. True to the promise she made me keep, I found my way back into a place that was home. And I held out a slither of hope that maybe my mother, the person who raised me, the person who tucked me in, who told me they loved me, who took me on my first bike ride, who gave me dating advice, who made me feel the person who I was, I thought they would be happy to come back home. I thought they would be missing me, that it would be just like in a story. But when I arrived at home, I found something that angered me. As he goes to the footsteps of the door. And as it opens, you see just an image of heaven. I came back home to find 4 strangers living in it. To find not a trace or a memory within the house that I grew up in, my home, given to wayward monsters. And I just felt rage. I left before I could do anything, as I waited for you all to leave the house. You went on a mission, I think, 7 years ago. And as you did, I confronted my mother. You see thunder from the outside as he angrily goes up the steps, the house shaking in his anger. Wood splintering with every step. Pushing through the door, you see Naomi get up, surprised. She tried to tell me that she didn't know, that she thought I was dead. But I didn't care. I felt the flashback of everything I lost, and I let it out. As you see, he tears down the roof and pushes it through. You see fire begin to circle around. You see a fight between them, him winning in every which way and form before she is under a pillar. You came to the house at that time, and I was going to finish you off and kill you all. But Naomi had a different plan. You see, she tries to find something and grabs what looks like to be a prism that you've used for your own traps to trap not only him, but her as well. As you find him, anger, thunder behind him floating. I made a vow that day that I would not only hunt down my mother, but I would return back home and destroy their beloved agency, to eviscerate the children that they cared for from history, and to destroy the world they so fought for to protect, but not out of vengeance, but out of justice. For I would be something that I would not only be dreaded, but I would be king upon the ashes. And I want one more story, as my temper's a little high. You see the walls around you begin to crack from his emotions. Vicious, I'm curious about that monster inside you. Why don't you share?
And I think Vic is smiling. And kind of as the walls crack, you can see that lava begins to fill them, kind of replacing that, like healing them, melding them back into one solid thing. As the memories begin to wash over, you see Vic standing outside of, let's say, maybe a train station. Yeah, I don't think Vic can drive at this point. Standing outside of a train station, just kind of like waiting. You can see that she is dressed up in maybe like maybe a pastel pink, kind of similar, kind of one of those pastel colors with like a bow tie, like a black bow tie with like slacks, kind of holding flowers, just kind of like waiting. 25, 15, 20 minutes. Come on, Del, where are you?
You see pulling up, running up the train station, very haphazardly with a briefcase that's like papers falling out. You see Dell. They had glasses at the time before they got contacts. You see their hair is a little bit done more up, like they at the time were working as the equivalent of like administration or secretary in that sense. So they did a lot of paperwork for the agency before they went in the field. As you see them sort of haphazardly, they're changing their like shoes for like comfortable ones at the moment, and kind of, I'm sorry, I had to do a last minute paperwork, as apparently a number of fae and vampires got a little bit of a spat, so I had to do the detention paperwork for that. So I'm sorry. I'm really, really sorry.
Yeah, and I think it's about like a year before kind of like that, the missing, like Naomi going missing. I think like Vic and Del have just met and kind of like hit it off. And it's like, no, you're fine, you're good. I just what's time? You ready?
Yeah. You want to go grab a bite?
I mean, I was thinking ice cream. It's one of my favorite things. If you're cool with that, we can eat though.
No. We can do both.
Yeah, let's get food first. Let's do what you want to do first. Yeah.
No, I mean, I just don't want to,
No. I mean, like, because you have to eat. I
can go. Let's
it's
do
weird
ice cream.
to.
It's the same place.
No. I mean, like, it's weird to not eat before you do the ice cream. You're hungry?
Let's just go.
Let's go. Yeah.
Let's go. And as you two kind of grab a taxi right quick and find yourself at the doorstep of the Elysium Diner. Great place, great ice cream. Knock your socks off. And as you kind of enter in, it's a little packed. You see people around here. You see the same Danny, that deity of death, working about. You also see that in the corner, some guy is just staring at the window after receiving the check. Which is, you don't know about this place as of yet, so you see that guy's having a rough time.
It's
but
like, hey, why is that one person floating off the ground serving food?
it's like a monster joint. It's like a community place.
Didn't know that existed. Cool, great, yeah.
So nobody bats an eye here. So you know, it's we don't have to really hide too
awesome.
much.
It kind of like loosens up the necktie a little bit.
You grab a seat and you see order right quick, and as it's just the two of you, she kind of gets down. So how's your day? I think that's how we start.
Yeah. Good. I woke up, got dressed, walked
Invigorating.
around for a few hours to wait. And now I'm here. You know, it's Saturday, so no work. I still don't really quite understand what I'm supposed to be doing. Naomi's like, "Oh, you can do things that other people can't," and I'm like, "I don't really want to go to work." And everyone's like, "But you can," and I'm like, and then I forget, and now I'm here, and then Misfits always like, "Let the monster out," and I was like, "I don't know what that fucking means."
Gets very cryptic at times. Like I
It's
feel you.
so it's like for a Devil of Lies, you'd think they'd like make a lot more sense.
I mean, believe me, he is dating like half of the typing pool, so he's got a reputation. He's a little bit.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, I tried to say goodbye to Eden. Eden was brooding. But
Yeah.
Heaven seems good. Everyone's doing good.
Heaven seems great. Yes, I love their cardigans that they're wearing recently. I think I might join the train.
Yeah, I can ask them, let them know.
That'd be great. Yeah. But I'm not really here for Heaven. I'm here for you.
Oh, yeah, I've been talking about everyone else again, haven't I?
So where are you from? If you don't mind, like I'm from here.
Indiana, in the woods, I think. Kind of.
Cool. Anything, any crazy stories?
Sometimes when I stand on wood, it burns.
Oh, I meant like, high school or
Oh no, I think I was homeschooled, but I don't really have any memories before I was like 13 or some shit.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to.
No, I like it, can't really affect me because don't remember. That's normal, right? I'm trying to be normal. Heaven's been teaching me how to be normal.
I don't think you should take it from Heaven. I don't think Heaven's really dated
No,
anybody.
my fam's normal. I think.
There's one guy, but I doubt it. But
yeah, you got memories?
Yeah, I got memories. I got a lot. I got a sister. I grew up here. I got a family in New York. All the 9 yards. And you see, as you're talking, Vic, you feel almost like slightly tingling on your neck, or something in terms of like some kind of feeling you get when danger is close. As you look to the left, where the window is, and you see what looks like to be a figure deadlifting a car before they're about to throw it at you.
Hey Del, and then like grabs Del and like hits the ground.
With that, you see a car. As you see, the figure outside seems to be dressed very up to the nines, almost mobsterish in nature. As you see what looks like to be a vampire going, "I want to know where the goddamn typist is who put in Fat Tony in prison."
Typist? The fuck's a typist?
He's referring to me.
What?
Vampires are mobsters in the city, so I mean they're kind of the same. And I guess we must put away somebody important that they want to kill me.
Stay down. Hey, buddy. There's no typers here.
Are you the typist?
Me?
Yeah, you look like a typist.
Do you need to know how to spell to do that? You need to know how to spell well?
They're very cute, and you see he begins to pull what looks like to be one of the sewer drain lids before getting it ready to toss it in your direction.
Yeah. And I think Vic, who is honestly and truthfully deeply unaware of her own body right now, just is like gonna try to like run forward and like dodge it and then just get smacked by this thing. And then just kind of hit the wall. Okay. kind of like not pushes it off, but like crawls out from under it. If I was a typist, is one sewer grate enough to make you go home?
Oh, you're freaking pathetic. As you see, he gets up. You see, he puts his foot, pushes a car upside your head, and as you're laying on that ground there, you hear it. Growling in nature, almost like a dormant volcano active. Let me out.
And I think this in Vic's mind flashes back to that night at dinner, the one in which that changed her life, when that parent came home, when her best friend was begging for everything to stop, and Vic obliged, but didn't know what she was obliging to. And what? Let you what? Who are you?
Let me out. I hunger for essence.
No. And I think it comes back to the present and is like clawing after this this car to get off, and it's like, come on, bud, we don't need to do this. Come on.
You see he's already passed you and has Dell in his fist. As you see his fangs are getting ready to...
And I think inadvertently, no, sure, come on out.
You feel that heat emanating from your core. What do you do when you feel this not only sensation of power, but sensation of hunger?
I think Vic almost blacks out. I think for Vic, this is that first time of agreement, of sentience, almost like waking up for the first time, almost being born again. That magma covers her body so quickly that it allows her to slide out from the car and melt through. And she is moving quicker than I think she ever has. Her eyes are glazed over that red like heat, and her claws are out longer than she's ever expected. And she just feels hunger, protection, anger. As she puts a hand through his chest from the back. Let her down, scumbag.
What the fuck?
And I think she rips out his soul and just swallows it whole, like that first time in the club in episode 1.
As you hear it scream.
And Vicious just says, not Vic. Vampires really do taste good.
The sensation is fantastic, but only dies when you see Dell's face covered with a splatter blood across, as there is a horrified look on it.
And I think as like Vic's eyes come back and he sees this, that overwhelming sensation of who that person was, every memory that he's ever had, who he was, how he started being in the mob, what type of a family he tried to have, what type of life he lived, who he was going to be after he left the mob, who Tony was to him, all of that in waves comes back. And then her eyes center on Dell, hands bloodied, fire gone. Are you safe? And then like reaches her hand out, but I think Vic doesn't know that her hand is still red hot.
And it pauses there. As you see the king, Alejandro. Interesting. Very interesting, all of you. As you see, he snaps it away, with just all of you now at the campfire. It's very enlightening to learn more about you all. Sorry for my outburst. I've learned to control my emotions.
So
You have
have
a lot
I.
to be.
Bitches, stop being polite. One of you go.
So have I. And I think that same expression that was on young Vicious is on Vic's face. The eyes are red. And Vic is so unbelievably angry right now and is staring at the Dread King, almost as if his anger transferred to her.
And I think Eden actually reaches out toward Vic and places a hand like almost on her arm. Not to stop her, but to just let them know that he's there. And Eden looks at the Dread King with a new expression on their face, I think. You have a lot to be angry about.
I do, and I use that anger strategically. You see, the thing about being a Zorathian is that we are able to use our emotions as power. It's what makes us so powerful.
I get it. You have a parent who didn't love you enough. You wanted to go home, expecting some grand welcome, and instead were shown that they didn't care. I get it. Believe me, I get it. But why us? I mean, we were kids.
In the moment, and for a long time, I felt anger towards you, for you, I thought you were able to live the life I could never have. But after seeing so much information about all of you, it seems you were in a worse situation than I was. A devil with no family, a monster with no one, and a heartless being who killed their own parents. You were just as fucked up as I was.
The agency likes to collect broken things. It started with you. Maybe it ends with us.
It may happen, but whether that's up to you or me will remain to be seen.
We're
I
not so
think-
different.
No, we're not, but there's a difference, a main one between me and all of you. I have what it takes to keep my promises. As you see him walk towards the back, where there's a bunch of materials and crates. As he opens ones up and pulls out a sniper rifle. I killed Tyr. I needed a destiny fulfilled. And I, for the most part, felt some attachment or emotions to you, Misfit. So I chose Tyr rather than you.
You didn't have the fucking right. That wasn't your choice to make.
I know. I didn't want to make the choice, but I needed a destiny fulfilled, and I was running out of time.
I think
I'm
Misfit
sorry
stands up.
what happened to your brother.
Misfit stands up, walks up to the Dread King really quickly, I think, bears down on him, and tries to take the sniper rifle out of the Dread King's hands. Fuck your apology. That was my brother.
I know. I tried my best not to hurt you all. But I needed it, and Kelgard was more than willing to complete a destiny, though he didn't know the full extent of what I had planned.
And I think Misfit is just standing there with this sniper rifle in his hand, doing the math, doing the calculus in their head of, would it be worth it right now to just kill the Dread King? Would it be worth it right now to use the same weapon that killed his brother, ended their life, to do that here? Poetic justice, would that be worth it? And I think that's kind of what is like going through his head at the moment.
I think as that's going through your head, he helps almost set the scene for you. As you see, he puts the barrel straight there, looking you in the eyes. If you want to do it, do it. I wouldn't blame you.
Why are you so accepting of your death? Don't you still have things to do?
I do. But if fate decides that this is my time, then this is my time.
And Misfit's hands are shaking with this gun in his, and I think they turn to look at Eden and Vic before making the decision.
I think Vic just has a hand on your shoulder. So as you kind of like turn around, it swaps arms. And silently, Vic just looks you in the eyes, still with that red. She is has almost as much anger right now as you do. Do what you need. You know, I'll stand by you. I told you I'd help you destroy the world if need be.
And Eden, who can't move nearly as fast as Vic can, is standing by the rock where the two of you were sitting. And their face is very solid. But when they speak, they say simply, evenly, I trust you. True.
And Misfit turns back, and they think back to all of the memories that everybody had just shared with each other, seeing the depths of the ways in which the people that he had grown up with have been hurt. The ways in which all Eden ever wanted was Naomi's approval. The way in which Vic didn't know who she was, didn't know what was inside her, this confusion, this hurt. And Misfit closes his eyes, and they pull the trigger, but they move the barrel before they do. And I think it hits the mural above the Dread King, and it hits the Dread King's image on the mural. Straight in the chest, straight through the heart. And when Misfit opens his eyes again, they are brimming with tears. And they look at the Dread King in the face. Alejandro, we have been hurt by the same person. And I can't forgive you for what you've done. But I can't become you either. And I think Misfit drops the gun gently so it doesn't fire at Alejandro's feet.
I think at this point you are snapped back awake. Misfoot, you get up. Vic, you get up. But Eden, you're very careful about the way you get up as you see the Dread King with a sword across your throat. The whole time, gently lays off of it. As this is real, he is in person. Interesting. The question is, will you do what is necessary to stop me? Because I made a promise. And our people, my family, we don't break our promises. So I offer you this. As you see his hands up, sword on the side. Is there a thing you want to do, Misfoot, or are you just...
No, sorry, I was just exclaiming, I'm also your family,
Okay.
bitch, but it's fine.
With that, you see him, hands open. When the time comes, you all can make a decision as a family. I'll give you the one thing I never got. You're either on my side, or you're my enemy. Talk about it. Think about it. And you'll know when that time and that decision has to be made. So says the Dread King, as you see him dissipate.
And I think as Eden leans up out of bed, we see that there's like a tiny line, not a cut, but like the tiniest little line across like the wings where the Dread King had put their sword because Eden had leaned into it, had leaned into the challenge. And there's something really hard about the edge of their jaw before the expression kind of fades and falls as the Dread King vanishes, and they immediately turn to Misfit.
Did I see any of that? Because I'm here and awake?
Yeah, you were
okay.
in the room. He
Cool.
had a sword across their throat as you were just there on the side.
And I think Misfit like kind of immediately goes to Eden. Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Are you? What's that?
It's nothing. It's fine. Lie. Uh-oh. Lie.
And with that lie, we cut to one last scene. As we see the king teleport back, we can see final preparations are being made. The machinery that is being constructed is mostly gone. Underground, as we see that same marble statue going, "Did you enjoy your little story time? I gave them ultimatum." And you see they kind of put their hand against their brow. "Why do you keep... Just kill them! You could have killed them! They were sleeping!" It is not for me to decide. Fine. Well, I got the water ready, so I just gotta test it out, and after that, it's all fun and games. You see him go over to a chair, putting his sword down. And pray tell, in case they decide to be idiots and choose not to join you, what are you gonna do then, Soft Heart? You see him taking off his armor. Then I will kill every last one of them. And that is where we shall end our session for today. Yay! Lovely times. Thank you, everybody who is here and joined us for this special episode of the Mythic Initiative. With that, we're going to go in reverse order of the plugs and cast introductions and whatnot, outro. So with that, humna, there we go, English. Take it away!
First of all, that first. Hello, everyone. My name is Humna. I use any and all pronouns, and I am a TTRPG performer. You can find me on Twitter at @shahid_, where I talk about all of the different projects I'm a part of. I'm on a variety of different APs right now, so Twitter is the best place to know where I am at any given point in time. The next show that I will be on is on Saturday at 3 p.m. Eastern Time. I will be over on Vanna's channel playing Higher Education, which is our Strixhaven campaign where we are all grad students who just were ripped a new one by Abria Iyengar, who came and just yelled at us for a session. It was great. It was beautiful. I loved it. So you should come and watch us there on Saturday. C is also a part of that campaign as well. And with that, I will pass it over to CJ.
Hi, everyone. What the fuck am I supposed to do with the episode that just happened? Italian mobster vampires, adultified children, diners? Anyway, I'm good. I'm normal. I'm okay. Do I have anything? I don't have anything. If you think I'm cool, hot, sexy, and fun, follow me on Twitter. It's Classic Dragon. It's like literally right there. I don't even have to read it out. I don't have to do the spiel. You can just see it change it. Give it like a few seconds. I don't know which one it is. That's all I got. I don't know, hire me. I just updated my card. Go check it out. It's kind of cool. Hamna helped me. I'm gonna pass it to C.
You should hire CJ, just like as an overarching thought for the night. Hire CJ. Hi, everyone. My name is C. I use they, them pronouns. You can find me making very trans, very gay art on the internet at PieSharpArt. If you liked what I did here tonight, you'll like what I do other places. Specifically on Saturday, going to go absolutely unhinged. And then after that, on higher education, you can find me always on Transplanar RPG, which, if you don't already know, is an alternate gender person of color led 100% homebrew D&D 5th edition actual play livestream set in a non-colonial anti-orientalist world. We are on Arc 8. We are on episode 2 of Arc 8. There are only 6 more episodes after that one. There's a very, very gay scene in it with Humna and I. So if you liked what happened here tonight, you'll like what happens there. It's like it's like blood rituals meet like summer camp. So yeah, and then you might not think that like Connie could do more evil stuff. But I have truly never felt the amount of gut-wrenching, world-ending fear than I have at the end of episode 2 of Arc 8. So come see that on Saturday at 8 p.m. US Eastern Time. You'll enjoy it, I don't think. No, but you will, in like a bad way. Affectionate, just like today. So, Chris?
And that leaves me. But before I get to me, we also had another cast member who is not here today, Vin. Vin is very wonderful. He's great. You can find them at VinVoxVA. Check out their work. They're a voice actor. Hire them. They're awesome. And they will be with us next week as we go into part 1 of our finale for this season. And that just leaves me. I was the horrible person that ate at your emotions today. I am the resident keeper for these preceding evenings. You can find me at my Twitter, VO_Cologne, that's COLON. Right now, don't have much stuff is coming out slowly, but you can check out all my stuff on Twitter, and also I'm a voice actor, so hey, hire me for all your gigs and whatnot if you want little funny voices. And you can find my website stuff there. with that, everybody, we hope you have a lovely evening and good
Wait,
night.
before we go, everybody say congratulations to Chris, because after today's stream, I believe you have hit affiliate now. Probably
Let's
yes.
go,
Yes,
Chris.
yes.
Let's go.
Let's go!
Congratulations! Yay!
Yay! Mythic Chris
Thank you, everybody, for
initiative.
joining us for this. I never thought I would get here because I just wanted to make this, but now we're here. Emotions! With that, everybody, have a good night. Bye-bye.